Fans make lots of requests because when it comes to rocks, we are the best. So pick one of these 3 and inside you will see some rocks. Oh, this is cute. It's like a little poem. I'm so impressed. Oh, we're finally doing a viewer request. This is gonna be fun. Okay, so I pick one of the 3. 3, 2, 1. Oh, I know what these are. Zoltanite. It's great. It's a Turkish diaspora. Let's start off with some basic facts. So Zoltanite is basically a trade name. Sarzite, C-S-A-R-I-T-E, is also a name for diaspora that comes from Turkey. Diaspora is found globally, but kind of the most the high quality stuff is actually found in Turkey's Annotolian Mountains. I would say what's really cool about diaspora is that it's one of the few, it's color change, but it's one of those gems that's color change that not a lot of people know about. The Zoltanite is about a 7 out of 10. So you'd think, oh, we can use this in jewelry, but the tough part comes when you look at diaspora and Zoltanite, it has this cleavage. So it's very easy to break when you're cutting it. It's really, really hard to cut. Diaspora comes from the Greek word diaspora, which basically means to scatter. And when you're looking at these stones, Zoltanite literally seems like it attracts the light and then it scatters it. I mean, they're sparkle, they've got so much life to them. I know that Zoltanite, a lot of people may not be familiar with it. Diaspora was actually first discovered quite a while ago in 1801 in Russia. But as I mentioned earlier, Turkey is kind of the location. It's actually mined at over 4,000 feet. So this isn't a stone that's easy to get to. It's not a stone that's super well known. When you're cutting these, you have to be super, super careful because they basically have perfect cleavage. So you make one wrong move and you're basically gonna get these in slices. So when they were thinking of names, there was a stone previously called Zoltanate, and they wanted to still have this stone that alluded to the Ottoman Empire and the sultans of the past. So what they did is instead of having an S for Zoltanite, they changed it to a Z because they thought with an S, it still would have been too similar to the Zoltanate. It is found in the United States, Arizona, and Pennsylvania. You can also find it in Brazil, Argentina, China, and the UK, to name a few. So wherever you are, always remember, go look in your backyard or look at your local gem show and maybe you'll find some Zoltanite. Fun fact. We've talked a lot about inclusions on this show. Inclusions are super important in Zoltanite because they allow gemologists to differentiate the natural stones versus those that are synthetic or maybe imitation. Okay, so my favorite thing about Zoltanite is where it's found. I think that's so cool that it's found at like 4,000 meters up in these remote mountains. And I've never been to Turkey. I've never been to that part of Europe. All right, so I love these viewer episodes. I think it's super cool that you guys are basically telling us what you want to see on the channel, and it gives us I think Christopher, Elizabeth, and I, we all kind of feel like Nancy Drew. And it's fun that we get to figure out what's next on the channel and what are cool stones that we can bring to you. It's always a mystery. So I'm gonna head out of the studio and I'm gonna bring in Christopher. I don't know what he has coming up, but I know it's gonna be pretty cool. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell.
Thanks, Natalie. So, Natalie, leave any snacks around here? I'm gonna go left and pick this one. What have we got here? Oh yeah, this is a favorite. So I've got a box of my own fire agates here that someone borrowed from me for something, and now I know what. So fire agate is a type of chalcedony. It's a type of agate that has formed in a volcanic region around California, Arizona, New Mexico, and northern Mexico about 24 to 36 million years ago. Volcanic region there, and it's cryptocrystal and quartz, and it's formed, I swear it looks just like you'll see it here in a minute. Looks just like the volcanic areas that it's come out of, like just what you'd think frozen lava would look like. But it's alternating between the agate, the cryptocrystal and quartz, and iron minerals, goethite and limonite, and it makes these super thin little layers that are iridescent, so you get these crazy colors like pearl. And I'll stop talking now because I know you actually want to see what these beauties look like. So here we have a gorgeous range of fire agate, from gemstones to jewelry to rough. American range, again, it's New Mexico, California, and Arizona. And from there, one of my favorite mountains and one of my favorite locations is a mountain there called Slaughter Mountain. And I believe it's actually a much friendlier place to visit than you might think. It's on the San Carlos Apache Indian Reservation. And you can only get the material there from the tribe. Only the Apaches are allowed to mine it there using traditional mining methods. So if I can, I'm gonna see if I can get a good light here. 1 second so you can really see the colors come out of this. Okay, now with a little bit more light, you're really gonna be able to see this well. So one of the interesting things about the Slaughter Mountain area is that you get multiple bands of this limonite and goethite causing the iridescence. In most of the, or it's more common in the Mexican areas, like around Chihuahua, that you have more of a just one layer and then you have a clear chalcedony underneath. You can see here on this piece of rough, this area right here is fractured, and you can see as I move it up and down that there's color going all the way down that flat fracture. So you're looking at, you know, dozens, if not hundreds, of micro layers of iridescence causing, you know, greens and blues and reds and colors all over the place. The challenge is you have to follow those bubbles to keep as much of the color as possible. If you cut through them, you lose it, and these things are just microscopically thin. I'll show you a piece of rough here that's had the top polished. So on this one, you can see that there is color down there, and you can see a little bit of a curvature as I roll it around to that color, but you can see the flat polish just isn't doing anything for it at all. You're gonna have to actually conform to the shape of those bubbles, that almost frozen lava look, to get the best look out of the stone. Now here, we have the surface of this one. You can see how bubbly it is. It's kind of a botryoidal formation. And you have to chase that shape to chase the play of color to get the maximum yield and color out of these pieces. Now here are some of the pieces that we're talking about. And you're gonna see all of these, almost all of these are gonna be what we call a free-form cut. You don't typically do ovals and squares and rounds out of fire agate because the material's far too precious to waste by just making those shapes. What you really wanna do is you wanna get the maximum yield you can possibly get out of it with the best color and the best shape to show it off. Now I wanna show you a little something from Mexico. So this is one of my favorite pieces here. I always say when you see something that you like, you gotta be ready to pull the trigger on it, and I pounced on this one because I just absolutely love it. This is my little elephant. And this is a Mexican piece, and one of the things I wanna show you on that, if I can here, I wanna show you, you can see there on the side that there's a top layer of color, and then the side of that is just totally clear. So instead of having the layer after layer after layer like we have in the Slaughter Mountain piece, we've got just one light layer or one thin layer, still absolutely beautiful color, because the top is what you're gonna see. But you know, definitely a bit of a different formation to the other piece. Now, if you're looking to collect fire agate, man, it's all about personal preference. You're gonna find so many small bubbles, so many broad flashes, different shapes, different patterns, different color combinations. So it really go with what you love. Value-wise, the more of the spectrum is there, the more valuable it's going to be. So if you're getting everything from yellow, green, red, blue into purple, that's typically going to be a more valuable stone. And as with any stone, the more intense the color is, the brighter it is, the more valuable it's going to be. But with fire agate, if you find something that you absolutely love and that's what you get, you just can't go wrong with that, because it's something that you're going to be able to treasure for a lifetime. Very durable gem. Here's another little guy. So found this one at a local show, not too far from here, my little rabbit. This one is another Mexican piece, and this one you can see has a really, has a much more of a, to use an opal term, kind of a pinfire look to the iridescence. This one is kind of an eye formation. Don't see these very often, but you have like a little central piece of color, a little banding, and it just, for all the world, looks like an eyeball. Well, I hope you enjoyed this look at fire agate. Elizabeth's up next, and I'm gonna go back to my desk and make sure nothing else is missing.
So we are down to our last box of viewer requests. So I am really excited to see what you guys have picked for me. Ooh, ooh, okay. These are really pretty. Okay, so we have a whole box, ooh, of Ocean Jasper, which is basically my favorite kind of agate. But I think we have a whole bunch more to show you guys. So you guys can obviously, there's a ton of different colors and patterns and crazy arrays of just all these different orbicular, which is what these guys are technically called. It's an orbicular jasper, technically. But this is what I love about Ocean Jasper, is that no stone is the same. They're all different. Even the ones that have some of the same colors still have different patterns to them. So like these two look like they could have come from about the same area, but they're still like super different. First of all, it's not technically a jasper. So jaspers are an opaque cryptocrystalline chalcedony. Well, this is technically an agate, and that's because these are translucent. They may not look like it, but there is some translucency to these stones. Now the word orbicular, you guys can, figure it out. So orbicular, orb, circular. You got these really crazy looking, awesome circles when you polish them. Now where these orbs come from, or where these little circles come from, is if you zoom in here, this is what some of the rough ocean jasper looks like. So you have this druzy quartz that makes little mounds or balls or bubbles. And underneath, when you polish them, you get these really awesome spheres. So basically they're like zoned and you get these different rings of color in them. All of these guys come from the northwestern coast of Madagascar. These guys form in rhyolite. So there's these giant big cliffs on the northwest coast of Madagascar, and it's all made of rhyolite. So you have a lot of silica. Well, that silica precipitates down and creates these basically different colors and patterns in quartz. So then you end up with this cryptocrystalline, beautiful quartz with these crazy patterns that can look like little flowers. Essentially in these holes, in these crevices, and these cracks in that rhyolite, these will fill it in. So your jasper will fill it in and create these kind of crazy looking targets, because as they're coming down, they fill in and then they create crystals and it creates a target-like pattern. And then it eventually fills up the hole that they're in, and then the easiest way to get them out is to basically rough cut them out and then get rid of all the rhyolite on it. Make spheres or make beautiful cabochons. I've seen slabs, but for the most part, you don't see a whole lot of them in the rough, and that's because they basically infill a cavity and then you have to kind of knock them out of the cavity, so the rough is usually not as attractive. So I know what you all are thinking. So these things can occur in little vugs and holes in the rock. So how big can they get? Bam. So these things can get really huge. This is a massive ocean jasper sphere. And as you guys can see, it actually has some really beautiful translucency all across the top of here, where you can kind of see the little spheres up underneath the surface. But yeah, so this is one giant piece of ocean jasper. And as you can see, if you were to look at the front, it looks totally different than the back. And that is how ever-changing and different and all these patterns, I mean, it's just crazy to me. Like, you go in a rock, you go, okay, well, we're gonna be peaches and greens and some white, and then all of a sudden it's like an inch later, you're in predominantly green with druzy quartz and these really cool, like, starburst looking patterns. Like, it's just so neat. So I want you guys to take a closer look at my favorite sphere in this collection and just see how you have all those little concentric rings, and you can see the green quartz fans around the middle of it in here. And it's just really cool, all the little bitty details that make this really awesome looking picture. Thank you guys for watching our viewer request video. Please comment more requests down below. We are more than happy to make more of these videos. So keep up with us, like, subscribe, ring that bell, and thanks for watching.